Hello, Tim from Fair Play Now on the 22nd of February 2025. So it's been a bit of a strange week here this week. Well, first of all, I had about a 5 hour video shoot. I'm doing a fair bit of videoing work here these days, and some of it is starting to become paid work as well. So I earned a bit of money for that, although it's a lot of work. I'm in the process of doing all the editing, which is taking quite a long time. But yeah, I'll get there, and it's all good. It's something I enjoy anyway, so that's half the battle, isn't it? But the other funny thing is both my mum and Lorraine's mum also have been having a few medical issues, and they've both had hospital sort of visits recently, and the kind of feedback I'm getting is that the hospitals are being absolutely ridiculous about the nonsense. They're insisting on people wearing muzzles, and you're only allowed to go in one at a time to visit anyone that you're sort of visiting. So there's two of you going, only one of you can go in there at a time, and all of this sort of nonsense. And apparently some of the hospital staff are being rather fascist about everything, and not very pleasant. And it's just, when are they going to give it up? These people just seem to want this whole thing to last forever, and at some point people are going to have to realise that look, we can't keep doing this forever. We need to go back to how things were prior to 2020, and we coped perfectly well up until 2020, and without all of this stupidity, and we're going to do so again. But one good bit of news is that when Lorraine was visiting her mum yesterday, she's been toing and froing from the hospital. Her mum had to have a couple of nights in the hospital for a procedure. She's home now, thankfully. My mum only went in for as an outpatient, so she didn't have to stay. And they both seem to be recovering, sort of hopefully pretty nicely. Well, my mum is, and Lorraine's mum, I think it's a bit slower, but she's recovering. But yeah, like I say, Lorraine's been toing and froing from the hospital, and when you get the sort of notes through from the hospitals, and when you go in there, there's sort of things saying you must wear a muzzle. And but I'm delighted to say she was saying that no one was bothering, even though you get these letters or emails, whatever it is, and these notices saying you absolutely have to or must wear them. No one seemed to be bothering. So that is a very good sign, and it just shows that people are absolutely fed up with the nonsense. And even when they're going into these places, these sort of environments, and where you'd think they might be a bit more compliant, because it's a hospital. No, they're not taking any BS even from hospitals and that kind of environment either. So it is a good sign, I think, that things are going in the right direction, and that's all it takes. We just need to ignore this nonsense, and they will eventually give up on it. Someone somewhere has got to start saying, well, we're telling people they've got to do this, but they're not doing it. So clearly they don't want it. So, well, we're going to have to give up on it. So surely, someone with some sense will realise that soon, I hope. And yeah, we're getting towards the end of February here now, and it's that time of year when it's not quite spring yet, but it's sort of in sight. Once we get a few weeks into March, we'll hopefully start getting some of those nice spring-like days, and then that will be the end of the flu season, and hopefully things will calm down a little bit on all of this silliness that the hospitals are doing, and hopefully next year they will sort of start coming to their senses and not trying to impose this kind of nonsense upon us. Let's hope that's the case anyway. But it's a good sign. I thought I'd come on here and just tell you that, just touch base with you a little bit as well, just explain why I haven't been around very much recently, but yeah, just been either busy with the video stuff. Lorraine's been very busy with the hospital stuff, and but there is a little bit of good news there for you, and yeah, we just need to keep saying no. You know, whenever the powers that be try on their stupidity, we just have to say no. I think that's to be honest with you, I think that is a lesson that has been learnt over the last 5 years. You know, I think people, if the powers that shouldn't be said jump, a lot of people 5 years ago would have been, oh yes, I'll jump then, especially if it was, they're being threatened with lurgies and, oh yeah, it's for the greater good and all of this. But I think now, 5 years on, that isn't the case anymore. I think more people have woken up that the powers that shouldn't be are just quite nonsensical. They love to try it on, and all you have to do to send them kind of packing is simply to not comply and to say no. And that is, I think, a lesson that's been learned by not just the likes of you and me, but by a lot of people out there as well now. So just one last thing. A couple of nights ago, I was going through some of the photos I took on the marches. Of course, as you know, I was videoing a lot of it, doing street interviews and just capturing the vibe and putting them on the channel here. But not many people may know that I took a lot of photographs as well, which I think's got I think photos have got a certain kind of power about them. You know, you're kind of capturing a single instant in time, and you're looking at it years later, and there's just something magical about it. And I was looking through, and I've got quite a lot of good images, I reckon. I know I'm just kind of blowing my own trumpet here, but I think some of these photos, yeah, I did get my fair share of blurry ones and ones that weren't so great, but I got quite a few which I don't think are too bad. So what I'm planning on doing, you get these things online, don't you? These companies where basically you send them a load of your photos, and they'll sort of make up a nice book for you, you know, like a coffee table type of book. I don't know, a thing about that size, I don't know, sort of, I don't know, 15 inches by about sort of 20 inches tall, or that kind of size, great big book full of photos, you know, the sort of thing, you've seen them on people's coffee tables before, and you can get those made up for your own photos as well. I've seen a friend's got them from her holidays and trips away that she's done, and I might just do that and get a book made up with all of these photos inside. Might be quite a nice thing to do, and then I've got a record which I can put away in the loft, and hopefully will be found by someone in many years' time, and when Lorraine and I are long gone, and people will perhaps look at it and think, oh blimey, you know, is that what happened in the early 2020s? You know, because I thought it was just this Main Street narrative, but there's clearly a lot of people who didn't quite agree with things. So yeah, what do you think of that idea? I think it might be an idea to get a book like that made up, and then it's just something for me really, and a resource, so and a historical document, I suppose you could describe it as. But what I'll do, at the end of this video, if you keep watching, I might just put half a dozen of the photos. Yeah, so tell me what you think of that idea, and do keep watching after I say my farewells here, and yeah, you can see what they're like, what I'm talking about. But I'll leave it. Tim from Fair Play now. Thanks for watching.